What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. You're seeing squats and bench for the second day in a row. I had originally planned to film Saturday's workout, which was deadlifts and bench press. On Saturday's workout, I had 4 sets of 7 on deadlifts, and then I had 4 sets of 4 on bench press. Saturday is currently my heaviest pressing of the day, heaviest pressing day of the week, sorry, and the lightest deadlift session of the week. But I didn't film it, so this is what you're seeing from Monday's workout. So I had 257.5 kilograms for 5 sets and 5 reps. Again, this is the third week in a row of the 5s on Monday on squats. And the intensity again has been averaging around a kind of 1.5% per week on the increase, and I feel that I handled it the absolute best today. All in all, I just feel the workout went very, very well. One thing that was very, very surprising, but actually very, very pleased, was that I actually never got gassed in any set during this during the training set, during the training session. I would normally, what would be the limiting factor for me would be my lungs. My lungs would be the limiting factor and I would get very gassed. However, today, the limiting factor was not my lungs. I don't really feel there was a limiting factor, but I honestly felt that my lungs just did not give out at all, and I was really pleased with that, because it really gives me a good opportunity to be able to, if the programming calls to do so, really push the 5x5s, because my limiting factor is going to be strength and not my lungs. So the rate that I've adapted to the kind of higher reps has been very, very quick, a lot quicker than normal, and I'm very, very pleased with that. One thing I have actually been doing that I didn't normally do was I've been walking for around 60 to 75 minutes on non-training days. So I've been going about a 75-minute walk, which is just over an hour, with my dog, up at the a waterworks that are near us. So basically it's through woods and whatnot, and I go walk around it at a pretty brisk pace, and I feel that has really been contributing well. I feel that also kind of having a rep timer and limiting my rest times has been helping with my conditioning well, and I'm just responding very, very well. One thing I was happy with here was, again, one thing I've been looking to do leading up to the Worlds is not have a single squat that is high. One trap I fell into, which I feel, again, I'm probably going to make a full video on this itself, but I feel that a trap we fall into is justification. And before the European Championships, I had never had one single red light. In my entire powerlifting career for depth, I had never had a red light for depth on squats. So I kind of justified to myself, well, you know, it's okay to let myself off with a squat that's maybe high. I've never been called for it before. And lo and behold, I got 2 red lights on my first attempt for depth on the Euros. And again, we're not going to get into the whole should it have been passed, shouldn't it have been passed. We're not going to get into that at all. What we're going to, but I got called for it, and it's almost a bit like karma in my opinion, and I feel that justification is something we often do. It's like a discussion I actually had with one of the athletes I work with just now about pausing the bench press. The justification of, well, I feel that my setup is really tight and I don't really need to pause reps. Now, there is a time and a place for touch and go pressing. I am currently on a Monday, on my first pressing day in the week. I've got 4 pressing days, but on the first pressing day I am doing touch and go. That is scheduled, but if the touch and go isn't outlined and it should be paused, the justification of just because you feel you can pause it because of the new setup, it's not really going to cut it, in my opinion. And it's a trap I fell into massively with my squat depth on the last cycle. Now, yes, my squat depth in the cycle was still good, and I feel that again on comp day my squat depth was phenomenal. I mean, that 310 kilos third attempt, I sunk completely. However, I call it upholding the standard. I got that from Lane Norton. I'm not sure if Lane Norton got that from someone else, but I call it upholding the standard. At the end of the day, if you're going to compete in a federation such as the GBPF, now one thing to remember is that just because you compete in the GBPF doesn't mean you're an IPF lifter. The only way to be an IPF lifter is to compete internationally. Unless you compete internationally, you're not an IPF lifter. But the GBPF is the the British affiliation to the IPF, so that's still they uphold a very high standard. So you're going to compete there, you need to uphold the standard. You need to uphold the standard and hold yourself to a higher standard, and that is what I'm doing on this cycle with all squat depth, with all bench pauses. Again, this is touch and go day number 1, but with all bench pauses, and also with my deadlifts, I am looking to uphold a much higher standard than I ever have before, and I feel that that is going to benefit me really, really well going into the World Championships, because if I uphold a standard that is more than what they ask of, then that means that on competition day I am not going to have to be making any changes, or such as trying to squat a little bit deeper or having to worry about holding the bar for longer. Instead of that, I will just squat to what I normally squat to, and that depth is upholding their standard and is sufficient. And if I always hold a solid good 1 to 1.5 count on my pressing movements, then that is again upholding that standard, and that is going to best prepare me for those. And quite frankly, if you are upholding a higher standard than what they ask for, then that means that on the day it's going to be a little bit easier. If you watch a guy that actually is a 120 plus kilo competitor in Britain, the current British and European champion, Jord McLaughlin, he is a really good friend of mine, but he, on his bench presses, I don't think I've ever seen him hold anything less than a 3-second pause in training. His pauses are insane, and when he goes to comp, it's actually quite a fast press for him, because he's used to a much higher standard. But that's just some food for thought, guys. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll speak to all of you guys next time.